This is the part I've been looking forward to. Let me grab my notes. So the board, as I've indicated, met yesterday afternoon, and then every year we have a dinner that honors the outgoing board members. So we all went out to dinner last night, and last night we also honored Bernie, because Bernie has brought tremendous leadership and vision to CRL for 18 years. I was surprised. I've just not really thought about when Bernie started in his role at CRL, but I realized, yes, it was 2001, and he has really taken on a tremendously important and valuable role in continuing and developing CRL as our environment has changed. So yesterday we presented Bernie with this letterpress booklet that recognizes the contributions he has made during his years as CRL president. He has already talked in his remarks this morning about many of the initiatives that he spearheaded, but I also wanted to point out, as you think about the things that he listed, that when he began as the president of CRL, Wikipedia had just come into existence. The Google Books project had not started. HathiTrust was years off. Things like iPads, iPhones, they were not in existence. The ability to take photos with your phone, first camera phone apparently was made available in 2003. So think about how the technology has changed and how our ability to capture and record history has changed so dramatically. And Bernie has really done so much to really lead CRL forward. So again, I just want to highlight a few of the initiatives that I think have been most important, this is among many. I think of these as transformative initiatives. He has led in thinking about the need to audit digital repositories to make sure that the materials stored there were in a safe place that was going to exist for years to come and that would be well taken care of. And that included the TRAC certification. His work on global collections, which he described this morning, has been so important in ensuring that area studies transforms from what it had been when it focused primarily on print to the new world that exists today. And his discussion about digitization and providing access to rare materials in other countries has really helped ensure that important parts of history are preserved. The paper archive, or paper registry, that was another idea that has come into being under his leadership. And again, when we think about shared print and the work that many of us are doing to successfully and carefully manage our legacy collections, that's an important resource for us to have. And CRL has really taken a role in helping lead and guide the discussion about shared print in North America. Convening of the PAN forums, the Print Archives Network Forum, every year at the ALA meeting, the annual meeting, is again an opportunity that has been created for us in the community of libraries that Bernie discussed, to come together. And as Bernie also said, there have been many partners and collaborators that CRL has worked with along the way, including the Canadian Research Knowledge Network, the California Digital Library, the Linda Hall Library, LLMC, formerly Law Libraries Microforms Consortium, which I learned yesterday changed its name because the emphasis is no longer on microforms. So they've gone to their initialism. Neural, of course, OCLC, Redux, ProQuest, there are many others. And he's been successful in bringing in external funds from many different funders, both private and public. So Carnegie Corporation, he's already mentioned, MacArthur, Mellon, the Delmas Foundation, the Whiting Foundation. Government funding has come from NEH, from the Department of Education, from IMLS. So he's been very successful in trying to diversify not only the sources of funds that CRL has, but also to enable CRL to move forward on these initiatives that otherwise might not have been possible because of the constraints of the overall budget. So in preparing this booklet, Virginia Kerr at CRL did all the hard work behind it and did the design of the booklet. And one of the things she did was she reached out to a number of people who have either been on the CRL board or who have worked very closely with Bernie over the course of his tenure at CRL. So I wanted to read to you some of the statements that some of the contributors to the pamphlet made. So first, Earl Lewis. Every institution deserves a leader prepared to boldly embrace the future. Bernie Reilly took over a central library duly anchored in preserving 20th century media in multiple languages and formats, print largely. During his tenure, he did a marvelous job of orienting this analog archive for purposeful meaning in a digital age. For that and many other reasons, scholars everywhere are forever in his debt. Sarah Mahalik, a former chair of the CRL board and also former university librarian at University of North Carolina, wrote that Bernie has an unerring sense of national and international directions of scholarship, and with that understanding, he steered the Center for Support for academic research libraries in the US and around the world. And finally, Don Waters from the Mellon Foundation wrote, given Bernie's leadership, the light of knowledge shines bright in the nation's research libraries. With vision, persistence, diplomacy, and good humor, Bernie has tackled some of the hardest problems they face, including shared print, global collections, digital preservation, and the privatization of news. The nation's researchers are in his debt. The board wants to commend Bernie and invites you to join us in commending Bernie for his tremendous leadership, his deep commitment to CRL, and all he has done to maintain this amazing organization and institution over the last 18 years. So please join me in thanking Bernie.
Thank you, Jeannie. I had forgotten I'd done half of that stuff. So, but more accurately, we had done all that stuff, all those things, those nice things that Don Waters and Earl Lewis and Sarah Mahalik said are really about what CRL's been able to accomplish, and that's really your work. So, thanks very much.
Thank you. So now we look forward, and it's an exciting time, and with brand new leadership. So I'm delighted today to welcome the new president of the Center for Research Libraries, Greg Yao, who comes to us, or will come to us in August, from MIT, where he has been Associate Director for Collections. Greg, during the course of his career, has worked deeply with library collections. So he's worked first at Rice, also at Yale, and then Harvard as a bibliographer and subject specialist. He's also had experience with government documents, wide experience in different library organizations. He has not only a library degree, but a PhD in U.S. history, and is tremendously excited about the potential for CRL to continue and to evolve and grow. So Greg, could you stand so everybody could see you? Welcome. All of this has come together very recently, so I promised Greg he would not have to make any remarks today, but I know he'd like to meet you, and so please feel free to introduce yourself to him if you don't know him already. And I know he's already thinking about plans for reaching out to members and getting acquainted with the community, the parts of the community that he doesn't already know, and engaging with everyone. So Greg will be taking the president's role on starting on August 12th, sorry, not to push it out farther in the future. And so he will undergo a lot of learning in the course of the next year or so, and the board looks forward to working closely with him.